Welcome to the Journey to Wellness podcast, sponsored by the Essential Wellness Society and Healing Wheel Holistic. I'm Melissa Stonehill-Kyam, and I will be your host. With over 40 years' experience in the health and fitness industry, I am ready to dive in to some of the most conflicting topics we have regards to health today. Let's go. Welcome to the Journey to Wellness podcast. I am Melissa Stonehill-Kyam, and I am here today with Heather Bergen. I'm actually super excited about this episode. I've been wanting to sit down with Heather for a little bit, and we're going to have some fun. You guys are just going to hang out with us while we're having coffee and having some fun in discussion. Heather has a company called In the Meantime Unlimited, and it's a coaching, life coaching, and all kinds of coaching, type of wellness coaching practice that she has that she's going to expound upon. And before we get started, I want to do a little icebreaker, a little fun, just kind of like, I think this is a great question. And you guys who are listening, I want you to think about it too. All right, Heather. So you're on a road trip. You're going down the highway. The day is perfect. A song comes on the radio. You know every word, and you're singing it at the top of your lungs. What song is it?
Oh, Melissa, I need to listen to more music. This is so sad.
Okay.
That I don't really have. Probably whatever came on the radio.
Do you know the words to so many songs?
No, but they would probably be older.
Okay. So is there one song then that you, I think everybody's guilty of this, okay? You pretend you know all the words.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure.
And, some people play the air guitar, some people, just
I'm
sing
literally
along.
going to go put on a song when I go home now and just blast it out.
Okay, which one's it going to be?
I don't know. It's probably going to be whatever's on the radio.
By what artist? Do you have a top 3 artists?
You know who is kind of cool right now that I've been listening to is this artist called Toni Jones, and she does empowerment mantras. So she's whole albums of empowerment mantras, and just to I really love to listen to her because it gives you ideas of empowerment mantras, like what do I want to embrace, even if it's abundance. She has a song like Money Worships Me. I love that. Really just calling in that positive.
That. Money worships me.
Any of those positive things into your life.
That's a t-shirt. That's a good t-shirt.
Hey, I would know if money came to me, I'd know what to do with it.
I have a road trip song.
Okay.
So I love playing road trip karaoke. I'm always the passenger. My husband's driving, and for some ridiculous reason, I haven't figured it out yet, I know just about every word to every song from the 1970s and the 1980s, okay? And I think it's because I grew up in the music industry and I love music. But my favorite road trip karaoke song is Tiny Dancer by Elton John. And I do not have a good voice. I don't have a good voice at all. And I love it because my husband's driving. He's stuck. It's a captivated audience. And it doesn't matter. I can sing really loud. I cannot carry one note. And he's got to listen to it. So that's a really fun time for me.
One time I was singing a song out loud in college, and my roommate, who was in the choir and all of these things, looked at me and she's like, "Stop. You're on key. Do you know what you're doing?" I'm like, "No." And she's like, "Okay."
Oh, that's good, so that you can sing.
One time she stopped. It was like, hold the moment. Can you tell why you're on key right now? And I'm like, no. She's like, oh,
so
okay.
We're all going to be waiting to hear, what Heather's song is going to be
at karaoke.
And that road trip song, I know I can see it now after she leaves here. She's going in her car and she's going to be going with the dog. I like the groove station. I'm big on the R&B funk stuff because I was really into the roller skating in the 80s.
Yeah.
So, I'm good with all of that. But no, that's a good icebreaker. That's fun. You do a lot of things, and your background's amazing. So you have a Bachelor of Science in nursing.
Yes.
Were a military nurse, Navy military nurse. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And we were talking about how it is the most trusted profession in America. I don't know about around the world, but here in this country, it's the most trusted profession are nurses. And when someone, so I'm a nurse. I know what it takes. I'm married to a nurse. I have a daughter that's a nurse. I know the kind of study it takes. Nobody goes to nursing school and wants to come out with a C. They don't want to be a C nurse. That's not what their goal is. And that NCLEX is really hard to pass. I know the military has really strong restrictions around it. So why that matters to me is that you have this built-in credibility that you've been on the really intense medical side of healthcare, as well as the compassionate side of personal care. The nurses are the ones that are holding your hand, explaining to you. Hopefully you don't have Nurse Ratchet, but they're usually the ones that are helping people get through hard times. And what was the transition for you going from nursing into the empowerment coaching that you do now? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, that was a long transition, Melissa.
Okay. Okay.
And the empowerment coaching, yes, has just been a culmination of. So as I worked as a nurse, and then I had 3 kiddos and a husband that was deployed all the time. So I stopped working outside the home. But I'm a person that is continually growing and learning and evolving. And so throughout that time, I did some health coaching, became certified as a health coach, and liked that, but it was through a company that I didn't 100% align with. So I said, let me do financials. And so I got my Series 6 and 67 and all the things and became a financial advisor ever so briefly. Again, because I wanted to help people. That we're always in this vein of helping others, helping others grow, helping them learn, helping them to take care of themselves, right? Whether it's their health, their finances, all the things. I moved, I kind of went away from the work thing again, and then I got back into the health coaching.
What particular area of health coaching?
Diet, mostly. And then, but the thing I liked about this one company is that it really was a it was a life coaching. It was a life coaching thing, but also health and wellness. And, but I wasn't 100% with their values, and I was like, I just need to do this. I just need to make what works for me be my thing, so that I don't have to follow somebody else's rules or somebody else's standards or how, X, Y, Z. I want to do what resonates with me. And so then I went into more of a life coaching certification, which was, again, great. And then I took a bunch of coaching classes as a student. So I did consistency coaching certification. And then I was just like, what do all these things have in common? And what I chose to do creating my curriculum is, what were the things I had the hardest time with? What were those stumbling blocks, those things that I just really had a harder time diving deep into? And then I made my curriculum that.
It's interesting because everything that you were doing, there's so much psychology involved. I can't tell you how many, probably over thousands of people that I've done nutrition coaching with. And there were certain areas that when people weren't well, they were the best clients ever, because when people are sick, they want to get better. But preventative coaching is really, you meet so much resistance. People are really stuck in their patterns, and almost like they're almost enjoyably stuck in holding on to the problem, because then the problem starts to define that person. And I feel like so many people are afraid to look at what their life might look like without that problem.
I don't even think, not even afraid. Like, they don't even do it. Like, they don't even realize they can.
Right.
They don't even realize they have that ability to dream.
Right.
Or create that life of abundance or fulfillment. Like, they've taken away their own permission.
Unlimited. Life unlimited.
It's unlimited.
Yeah, and I think that's great. And also having been through all the commitments that you have been through as an officer in the Navy, you know, the commitments and the sacrifices. Mm-hmm. You're a great person for that role, because you know what it is. And then to have made a pivot because you saw that raising this family is primal, and yes, it is so important. And I relate to that. And I think that we were talking before, we have so much in common personality types, is when you're in, me, we're all in, 2 feet, whole body, boom, I'm here. So I was like that too as a mom.
Yep.
I have 4 kids, and I gave up my career dreams, so to speak, and I worked part-time when I could, but my dream job at the time was being a mom. Mm-hmm. And I went for it, and sacrificed income for it. We didn't live very high on the hog,
nope,
so to speak.
Same, you know.
We did what we had to do.
It wasn't, I just couldn't see, with my husband not there and 3 kids, like actually trying to work a full-time job.
I feel like you're a whatever it takes type of person.
I am, and I'm a dive deep, and mm-hmm, I did go back and do like the finance stuff on my own, you know, with my own discipline. I mean, I studied at home and learned that stuff and took the tests and really, because I love to learn. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like,
knowledge is
I will never not be continuing to learn and advance. And that's another reason why, again, I developed my own coaching business, so that as I learn, I can share.
Right.
Because there is a lot of the psychology, like you said, like just the mental stuff. But then I did yoga teacher training. Because
right. I remember that. That wasn't too long ago, right?
No, I was like, there really is like this somatic mm-hmm, embodiment part of it too. Like you can't just work on one part.
Exactly.
You have to
100%
do it all. You have to do the health, you have to do the breathing, you have to like actually embody what you're thinking. So there's a lot of steps to it.
Well, that is the whole concept of the healing wheel. You know, when I came up with healing wheel holistic, and now it's healing wheel holistic and retreats and travel. I came up with that in 2020 when I lost my corporate job. I had many, many, many years of helping people, but being able to refer out to different professionals mm-hmm, within the corporate setting. And when I was on my own, I started out, you know, as a nutrition coach on my own and a life coach, a Jungian specific. And I realized that I can't help all people, that different people need different things and mm-hmm, different practitioners. And I wanted to form a community of practitioners,
absolutely,
you know, referring to each other. And then we started doing the retreats. And basically, it was looking at the Native American medicine wheel. And so I really like that you said that, because I think it's honorable and wonderful when people have a morning practice and they get up and pray or meditate. But if they are not also thinking about what they're putting into their temple, their body, right? And for me, I used these words the other day. I said, for me, my workouts are sacred. Like that gym is a sacred, holy space to me. As much, please don't take this the wrong way, as much as going into a church, like for me, it's my way also service to God by taking care of my body and going into, I like regular gyms. Some people like yoga studios. I also love Pilates studios, swimming pools. It doesn't really matter, whatever you call your gym, right? But to me, that's super sacred and super holy in another angle.
Like your body is your temple. Like I definitely believe that we are all sacred beings. So really, it is a sacred act to be taking care of your body.
Well, I know you're really into your fitness, super committed.
So,
and that's
it's
great.
It's just been, I think for me, like that's just been a part of my life.
Yeah.
Like I was never an athlete, and thank goodness for that, because like my knees aren't bad. I don't have to, I never was like a hardcore athlete, but exercise and fitness and health are foundational and have always been foundational in my life. I mean, I grew up pretty poor, but I always say I was like the first organic kid because we ate like deer meat. Like that's our protein that I grew up on.
Right.
We had a garden in the backyard, we did not live in Colorado.
Very sustainable.
So it's a little more, but yeah, like it was very healthy in a way that we just didn't think about it. I don't think there was as much junk food, but we couldn't afford that kind of junk food.
They didn't start putting preservatives on the shelf until the 1970s. It actually came from the space program. And I'm a bit older than you, but
not that much.
I remember we used to have those things, they were called space food sticks. It's the food of astronauts.
Okay.
And everybody's running to the local candy store, which was inside the drugstore, and we were buying the box of these space food sticks.
Like,
and
preserved.
Yeah, TV dinners came out in the 1970s.
Yeah.
And it was a whole other thing. But are you looking, when you work with people, are you looking to build teams? Are you looking for, when you work with someone, what is the style of working with them? What is that? What do sessions with you look like?
It's evolving. So right now I'm holding community sessions, group sessions that are standalone, so that people can come and kind of get a flavor for what I do. And then from those, if they would like to book an individual session, I do individual sessions as well. And those can, it's a little intuitive. I just kind of sit with them and we talk. I have a program, my 8-week program. So we would look at the 8-week program, but almost always I diverge.
What is an 8-week program?
My 8-week program. It is just, like I said, that Foundations of Empowerment program where a lot of life coaching is very much the same. Like there's a lot of very similar themes like create a dream or consistency or what are these different, like in your wheel, there's health, there's sleep, there's spirituality. Like what are your goals that you're working on right now? As you know, they're all intertwined.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's really important though, because we can't really skim over that. When you say, as you know, they're all intertwined.
Well, as you know.
Right, because I think that's one of the biggest potholes for me. So, for instance, we do different thematic retreats because we want to try and connect with people where they need to be connected with. So we do one that's specific to art and culture. So it's art and food and art and exploring certain areas. Always, our retreats have giving back to communities. So there's always community service of some kind, whether it's visiting a dog rescue or going to a local maker's market and buying from local people, different things like that. There's things come up to us that look like good not-for-profits to connect with. But then now the next one going forward is a full-on fitness retreat, because some people want to connect through that perseverance, the mind of the athlete, working with coaches, getting it done, that exhilarating feeling of having that great workout where the rest of the day you can hang on a sailboat, right? Everybody, and then we have the psychic awareness ones that seem to draw a lot of people too, that is just fabulous. It's very playful, very whimsical, and really connecting to spirit in a different way. We come up with the different themes because we really know that we can't reach all people one way.
Right.
It just doesn't work. And so why I like when you said you have this 8-week program that you actually divert from.
I mean, you need to have the structure.
Right, but you're personalizing it.
But I definitely personalize
Right.
it with each person. And I realize now that is like an intuitive hit that I get usually when I sit with them.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, let's look at this. Like, that's really week 4. But we're going to look at it now because I feel like that is what's going to resonate with you right now. And that's going to be the thing that you take away.
Yeah, I have done my bio many times, and a friend of mine was looking at my bio, and they said, well, you didn't mention in your bio that you're, one of 8 siblings, a mother of 4 with 4 grandkids. And I said, well, what does that have to do with my professional bio? And my friend's like, everything. Because that means that, you know how to orchestrate, you know how to create some sort of order in when there is no order.
Yeah.
And
we don't come out of raising 3 or 4 kids without a little bit of like trauma and
well, when you said intuitively, like, do you treat all your kids the same? Do you treat all your pets the same?
Absolutely.
Every being is different.
Right.
And you can't be the same to all people.
Right. But you still have that structure. You're still the mom.
Yeah.
You're still the main, that same thing.
Right.
But being a mom looks different to kid A vice.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So.
And that's why my whole career has been in management. And I felt like, this is a piece of cake. I can manage this. I don't have to take it home at night, I don't have to make my team lunch in the morning and get them off to school on time.
And you know what? Your
this
team tends to be a little more grateful for what you're doing for them.
Right.
I was like, no one cares.
Right. That's funny. So we talked a little bit also, 2 things I want to touch upon. There's a lot of people have asked me before about life coaching in general, and as a life coaching versus a psychologist, right? A life coach versus psychologist.
Right.
So I got into life coaching when I was working with people with a lot of eating disorders, and I was referring out, but I still needed, as a nutritionist and a nutrition coach, I still needed to check a box of just, what I need to be able to have this certification so I can feel like I'm not speaking outside of my scope of practice in order to have conversations. What I found really nice about the life coaching experience versus the psychological experience is, in life coaching, we literally lead and guide the way for people to solve their own problems. So a life coach is never going to give you a textbook remedy of what to do. They're going to ask a question more like, if someone brings up something simple like, I have insomnia, I can't sleep. I might say, what would your life look like if you could sleep? And then having them build that value of what that life would look like if you could sleep. Well, what do you think is stopping you from this? And then they list.
Right.
So it's really cool, because what I love about life coaches, and I actually like having one myself, could use one right now actually, is that it gives you a bird's eye view of your own life, your own self, where you can start to build and also deconstruct.
Right.
Deconstruct what doesn't work and start to build what does work.
Right. And somebody is
love
just
that.
like holding that space for you while you really figure it out on your own.
Right.
They guide you
Absolutely.
to your truth and your intuition and your purpose, instead of just giving you a prescriptive follow this program. Because then you don't really value, you have to have like value, like you need to value the outcome. And sometimes you have to figure out what that really looks
Well, it
like.
reminds me too, if you know that toddler game where you have the circle, the star, the square, and you have the little block things that you're supposed to fit into it. And we sit there and we marvel and encourage when the baby gets the circle peg in the circle spot. That same mind that figured out that the circle goes in the circle and the square goes in the square is still alive in us now.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel that when we're in academic situations in school, depending on the teacher you get, we start to get robbed of figuring it out. Because then everything becomes black and
do
white.
it this way. This is the
Yeah.
safe way. I've learned this lesson, so you do it that way. As a parent, even. Because even as a parent, a lot of our goal is to keep our kids safe. You know? And if we are coming from a place of fear, which a lot of us are, then, you know, we literally instill that fear into our children, which comes out as anxiety. And again, that's why I have a big passion for working with women and moms, because really the effects go down to the children. Like if you can get the moms a little less anxious, a little less fearful, a little more grounded in who they are and understanding why they're saying something or what the outcome they really are hoping to achieve is, that definitely flows down onto the next generation.
I think that's really well said. And I also feel like you could take that in a corporate model too, you know, in management.
Any
You know, if
business.
you-
Well, this is the thing. Like, I think they do sort of do this in the corporate model, and I don't think it's fair because people that really need it are the moms, right?
But what about the mom
They're
that's
not
in the corporate model?
There's a few. There are some
Right?
moms in the corporate model.
Because they're saying now, there more than ever, there's women as CEOs and women that are graduating in master's and PhD programs. And unfortunately, this it's a two-income society we live in. And I say unfortunately because that's rough. It's rough on the parent, whether it's a mother or father that wants to be at home, because there's some situations where the dads are doing the parenting, or maybe you have a situation where you have a spouse that is a doctor or a nurse and has a super great income, and you have little kids, and maybe it pays more for the dad to work part-time and stay at home. So like, things are changing so much.
I think they are definitely
everything's changing
so
and,
much.
But it's great that you focus on women, and that's great. I mean, because
I
you have
feel
a head
like-
start on it. You're a woman.
Yeah. But then I
Your
want
mom.
it to be accessible, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of these, even programs or whatever, I came to this personal growth journey was through work, right? Whether it was honestly even working as a medical assistant. My first company I worked with, they did the Myers-Briggs test. And then we redid it again when my husband became a senior officer in the military, just to help you, because suddenly you are in a leadership position. And it's kind of good to know, again, who you are, especially as a leader. None of these opportunities were offered to me as a mom, you know, and yet the impact that moms have is so important, and the situations they get tossed in, unexpectedly.
I really resonate with what you're saying. One of my kids had mentioned that. They said, you know, you can go to college and you can get a degree in a variety of things, but nobody is teaching parenting, and nobody's teaching anything that goes along with parenting.
But they don't really, like, but this is not working, and then what?
Oh, well, some people really shouldn't be parents either.
No,
that's the truth. Is that it's not cut out for everybody. Parenthood is not cut out for everybody, and it is the hardest job I ever had, the most rewarding job, but yet the hardest job, especially with multiples.
Right.
You know, because all of a sudden you're a doctor, a psychologist, a lawyer, a referee,
and
carpool driver.
And what works for one does. My first two kids, polar opposites. Like whatever worked for one did not work for child two, and so you're parenting differently, and then you get that's not fair, right? Like, but it's not like the same. It's what each kid needs.
Yep, exactly. And I feel that way about education too.
Understanding that like everything is not going to work for every kid is super important, which is again why I love doing some of the stuff with like human design.
Well, that was just going to bring me to human design. So I heard this a few times. Before we go on to human design, tell me about these beautiful crystals that are in front of us. We have rose quartz.
Rose quartz.
Which
so this is my new fave. This is just, I think these are rainbow fluorite.
Oh,
and I think
really?
Rainbow fluorite, as I understand, and I am not a big rock person, so just so you know,
fluorite.
I haven't studied crystals
this looks like
per se.
Amethyst. Interesting.
But it's rainbow fluorite.
Right on. There's a lot of that here in Colorado,
and
isn't there?
Yeah, and then the selenite. These are just like energy, well, let's get into energy neutralizing stones. Like the selenite and the rainbow fluorite are just very, very neutralizing type of energy. And then the rose quartz is like for your heart chakra, like just a little more opening. So I thought, let's bring this so we can have this like open-hearted conversation. Yeah, and because the whole heart and love is the opposite of fear. Have you ever heard that?
No, but I like it.
What is the opposite of fear?
I like it.
Love. So, yeah. So the more you can be opening to a loving place or coming from a loving place and, you know, reacting from a place of love and not fear is, it's always a great question. It was one of my first parenting questions, honestly, was like, wow, that kid is triggering me. Why? And is my response coming from a space of love, or is there some sort of fear that's driving me? Like, how will she ever survive in the world? You know, like, what is the fear? What is the fear? And then how do you respond with a more loving response,
well, I think
whatever
it's really,
that is.
really amazing that you just said that, because you said, oh, that kid is triggering me. Why? Most people will just stop right there. That kid is triggering me, and now it becomes the problem of that kid.
Right.
That kid. Now you've got this problem child, and it's usually the kid that gets medicated, and the kid that gets in trouble in school, and the kid, because everything's being put on this kid. And sometimes, usually, they're between the ages of 5 and 7 when it really lands, and they start to develop their acceptance of self based on the adults around them and the approval meter, so to say. And we start to develop our own sense of our own worth between those two, that age, it's very, very pivotal age. But if we were to stop to say, I'm going to try this all day today because something happened today that triggered me, and I was really angry. I was dealing with it before we started chatting. I was like, okay, got to dispel this. But I really didn't ask myself why. And when I asked myself why, I just came up with the answer why.
That's what coaching
And-
is, right?
right.
There you have it.
Right.
It's
And then I was
such a
like,
simple question,
I
but
need
it's
to have a
putting
conversation
yourself.
with that person and say, I was triggered from this because I feel blah, blah, blah. It's not about you.
Right.
So when you say that kid's really triggering me, why? Wow. Whoa. That's like a golden nugget, parents. If you can say that kid's really triggering me, why? And that's not to say a 2-year-old on the floor, a tantrum isn't triggering. But for me as a grandmother, when my 2.5-year-old was in the airport while mom was trying to unpack and get her suitcase the right weight, she decided to have a meltdown. I could see mom was getting stressed with baby having a meltdown while she's trying to get something done. She's going to be traveling alone. I'm grandmother. I could care less. It didn't bother me at all. I just swooped her up off the ground. I felt no trigger from it. I felt nothing other than she's 2.5. She's in a busy airport. Mom's over there. She feels detached.
Right.
She doesn't know how to do anything but
She doesn't
lay
know
on
how
the
to
floor
manage
and
her
kick.
feelings,
Right.
right?
She wasn't managing her feelings. So I'm just going to pick her up.
it's
I'm
just
going to
chill.
hold her.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, it's all good. It's okay. It's okay. Come on, let's, I wasn't triggered. But if I were the mom and I'm already exhausted and it happens so often and I'm trying to get some, and I have maybe a fear of like, how am I going to make it through the rest of the trip?
Right.
That could be triggering.
Or like that fear that everybody's judging me and thinking I'm a bad mom.
Right.
You know, like,
Absolutely.
you know, and that's you, like thinking those thoughts. It's not everybody actually judging you. Maybe they are, but that's their own issues.
Right. That's right.
But
So
yeah.
let's move into, because we're getting towards the end of our time together,
Okay.
but I really want to chat about the human design. I've heard it come up a few times, and I study a lot of things, but it's something that I don't really know much about other than you took my birth date before we went on video. You took my birth date, time of birth, the location of where I was born, and you came up with something.
A chart, right? That
It's not an astrological chart.
It's not, but it's got a little bit of that in it. So
Okay.
it has a little bit of that, a little bit of the I Ching, and a little bit of the Kabbalah,
Oh, that's a lot.
according to the person who developed human design. But really, it's just like a little map. And everybody in human design, everybody has every part of the chart. There's no like, you only have this. Everybody has every part of the chart. Just some of it might hit you a little bit harder. And one of the things, we pulled yours up, and you're a generator, as am I. And those of us that are generators, we need to be super careful about what we decide to take on, because we have a lot of energy and we can get really burnt out. But we have a lot of determination to just keep going too. We have just this consistent energy to keep going, and that's why a lot of us get like burned out. We're
Right.
not using our energy in a way that fulfills us. Like when I have started doing the coaching and when I work with people and talk to people like this, I feel so energized once I'm done. Like this does not exhaust me. Like I will just go out from this room and be so pumped up right now. Because I'm using my energy in a
you
good
love it.
way,
Right.
right? Whereas I could put my energy into something and then it would just exhaust me.
Yeah.
But, you know, but again, we like made a commitment, so we follow through. That's the thing about a generator. We have this good, awesome, consistent energy. The key is to use it for our own purposes and not to build other people's businesses, not to build other people's dreams. Like, come up with your own dreams so that when you have this consistent energy, you're building your dream, not someone else's.
I love that perspective. And I thought it was really interesting because one of the things you said was that generators hold up these karmic mirrors. And I thought that
Fives.
was...
That's
Fives.
a line
What
five.
is that?
So you're a 5-1, which is, they call it a heretic investigator profile. I also am a 5-1. So Yeah, we have a little bit of a karmic mirror. So people look to us and they tend to, and like psychology, they would say like you project onto that other person their feelings or something. And then we just send it back to them and then they think we're the bad guy. But also we love to build community and we have a very welcoming sense about us, both you and I. So this is really a cool thing and it's fun to, and then the one line is the investigator, which I know we like to learn things. Like yeah. I'm literally, you're like, oh, what do you listen to in the car? And I'll be honest, Melissa, I'm listening to a podcast.
Yeah.
I'm listening to a book. I'm listening to something that's going to help me grow as a person and maybe be able to share with other people.
I love that. I do that when I'm working out. Like when I'm doing cardio, I don't have music in my headphones. I have a podcast or, something of interest I'm listening to while I'm working out. And
I love learning new things.
I'm always enrolled in some sort of course.
Oh, same.
So right now I'm becoming a Hawaiian travel expert.
Okay.
Because my friend said, I want to do a retreat in Hawaii. And the head of my travel company said, well, in order to do a retreat in Hawaii, you really should become a Hawaiian expert because there's so much there in those islands. So I was like, right away, boom, sign up. Everyone's dishes are done. I'm going upstairs. And now I'm spending an hour and a half going through all the chapters of being a Hawaiian expert so I can get the certification that I'm a certified Hawaiian expert, okay?
Right.
So I'm listening to that. But when I'm in the car, I feel like, windows down, hair blowing, I need a break. I live in Colorado Springs, probably one of the prettiest places I ever lived.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the peak and I just want to sing my bad voice, sing songs.
I value that. It is an important thing to do is to listen to
that side of my brain, and and because I get too caught up.
So yes, I will be finding some music.
We could share different podcasts. Sure. Well, I hope this podcast interests people because I'd like you to talk to people about how they can work with you, where they can find you, what your links are, or phone numbers, or address.
So probably the easiest way to find me is on Facebook if you're a Facebook person, and it's Heather Bergen, Bergen. And my Instagram page is, in the meantime, ULTD, Unlimited. And that is also my Facebook business page as well. So that's a way. And my website is inthemeantimeunlimited.com. And you can, definitely contact me through my website, sign up for my newsletter, or message me through there.
And do you work with people on the phone, via Zoom, all over the country?
I do, through Zoom for sure. But also, if you're in Colorado Springs, one of my main goals is to build this community here and network. And so on the first and third Wednesdays, I'm here at Treehouse Cafe at noon.
Nice.
From noon to 1.
See, I didn't even know that.
Oh, yeah. First and third Wednesdays, noon to 1. You can sign up on Eventbrite or message me and let me know you're coming. I'm working through the 8-week program there, so I have an agenda. Also, next month, and I don't remember the date, I'm going to be doing a one of the main things that is so important is knowing your values. I mean, foundational is really digging in and understanding who you are, who you want to be. And so I'm going to be doing a values class one evening here in July.
That's really
great. And then it's going to be fun. There's going to be learning, there's going to be coloring, there's going to be some breathing. There's going to be a lot of things to really help people embody.
So those are the events you have coming up.
Yeah.
Great.
So those are the things
I love it. Up. So you got all that information, and we'll have all of that in the information below where the podcast is posted. I have a lot of events coming up too.
Okay.
So this weekend is Father's Day, and this will be posted post Father's Day.
Okay.
But we have the Letha Festival that we host in Old Colorado City. Sarah Grant and I, who owns Treehouse Cafe and runs and founder of the Essential Wellness Society, who has sponsored these podcasts along with Healing Wheel Holistic. We have our book out. It's Daily Practices, a Mindfulness Companion. It's available here at Treehouse and also on Amazon. And this book is a syllabus. Basically, there's 7 chapters of different approaches to self-awareness.
Okay.
So I'm really proud of that. We have the Mountain Mystics coming up July 11th through the 14th in Glenwood Springs, Colorado. It's a psychic mediumship development and awareness retreat. We have a Pilates retreat coming up in Guanacaste, Costa Rica at the Rio Palace. It's a 4-star resort. I am so excited about this. Working on Hawaii, February 1st through the 8th. That's another one going on. Did I forget anything? Letha Festival, Mabon Festival in September. There's a whole lot of stuff going on. www.healingwheelholistic.com. It's all there. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today with me and my friend Heather, and look forward to sharing all this great stuff with you more often and next time.